There was a show that aired on Cartoon Network, a show about a little pink dog who fought monsters every single night. Everyone called it a kid's cartoon. But what if I told you there were never any monsters? Not one, not ever. And that truth is scarier than any monster they showed you. For years, people said Courage the Cowardly Dog was too scary for a kid's show. The monsters were too horrifying, the episodes too dark. Parents complained, kids had nightmares. But nobody asked the most important question. Why could only Courage see them? Why did Eustace and Muriel never truly believe him? Think about every single episode. A monster appears. Courage screams. He runs to Eustace and Muriel. And they do nothing. They see nothing. In 80% of episodes, the adults around Courage are completely unbothered. That's not bad writing. That was the entire point of the show. Here is the truth. Courage was not a dog who fought monsters. Courage was a deeply traumatized animal who saw his worst fears come to life. Every monster in this show was never a creature. It was an emotion, a memory, a fear. Courage's own mind was creating everything. To understand why, you have to know Courage's past. As a puppy, Courage watched his parents get taken away by a cruel vet, forcefully, permanently. He was left completely alone. No family, no home, no safety. That kind of trauma, at that age, never leaves. And for Courage, it never did. Look at Eustace. He constantly yells at Courage, mocks him, scares him with a mask. In real life, that's called emotional abuse. So what did Courage's mind do? It turned Eustace into a monster. Because to Courage, he already was one. The show is set in a place called nowhere. Literally, nowhere. An isolated farmhouse. No neighbors, no community, no help. For a traumatized dog with anxiety, being completely isolated from the world, surrounded by darkness every night, that alone would create monsters. Let's take the episode Perfect. A spirit visits Courage and tells him, "You are not perfect." It lists every flaw, every failure. That's not a supernatural entity. That is anxiety. That is the voice inside your own head that tells you you are never enough. Courage the Cowardly Dog put anxiety on screen in 1999. Now look at Muriel. She is always kind, always warm, always believes in courage. In psychology, she represents the one safe attachment Courage has, the one person who makes him feel he belongs somewhere. Every monster that targets Muriel in the show is Courage's deep fear of losing the only love he has ever known. Notice the pattern in every single episode. Something threatens the people Courage loves. Courage is the only one who sees the danger. He has to face it completely alone. He always saves the day, but nobody truly acknowledges it. That is the life of an anxious child in a household that doesn't listen. This show was never about monsters. It was about that. And the creator of the show, John R. Dilworth, once revealed that Courage was based on real feelings. Feelings of being small in a world that felt overwhelming and threatening. He said the show was about finding courage, not the absence of fear, but doing what you must despite being completely terrified. That's not a monster story. That's a human story. But the episode that proves everything is called Remembrance of Courage Past. We see young Courage watch his parents disappear. No monster took them. A human did, in a white coat with authority. And young Courage could do nothing. The show told us from the very beginning, the most terrifying things are not creatures. They are people with power. Here is what nobody talks about. Courage is called the cowardly dog, but in every single episode, he never truly runs away. He shakes, he screams, he panics, but he always goes back, always faces it, always protects the ones he loves. The most cowardly character in cartoon history is actually the bravest. There's one more thing nobody noticed. Courage has a computer in the attic that helps him solve every problem. In every episode, the computer tells him the truth about the monster. Think about what that represents. In a world where no one listens to you, the only thing that validates your fears is information, knowledge, research. Courage didn't need a hero. He needed someone to believe him. And the final episode of the show confirms everything. There are no more monsters. Courage simply lives with his family. No chaos, no creatures, no fear. Because the show never needed monsters to end. Once Courage found consistent love and safety, the monsters stopped coming. Because they were never outside. They were always inside him. So let me break it down for you completely. The giant fish that swallowed the house, fear of losing home. The zombie teachers, fear of authority and judgment. Cat's the cat, fear of cold, calculated cruelty. The violin-playing ghost, fear of the past haunting you. Every monster, every episode, one emotion, one fear. This show was a map of anxiety drawn for children. And this is why adults who rewatch this show feel something different. As a child, you were scared of the monsters. As an adult, you recognize the monsters because you felt them. Anxiety, abandonment, loneliness, feeling unseen. The show didn't traumatize you as a child. It prepared you for what adulthood actually feels like. Courage the Cowardly Dog aired in 1999. Mental health was not a conversation anyone was having. Anxiety in children was dismissed, ignored, and yet this show put it on screen every single week. A small dog, completely alone, facing fears nobody else could see, screaming for help in a world that refused to listen. In 1999, that was revolutionary. So what is the real horror of this show? Not the monsters, not the darkness, not the screaming. The real horror is this. Courage was right every single time. He saw danger. He warned everyone. He was ignored. And he still had to save them alone every single time. That is not a cartoon. That is someone's real life. Now, think about your own life. Have you ever seen something coming that no one else believed? Have you ever warned someone and been ignored? Have you ever faced something terrifying, completely alone? If yes, then you already know exactly how courage felt, because you've been courage more times than you realize. And courage is not alone in this. Almost every cartoon from your childhood was hiding something. SpongeBob, Tom and Jerry, Dora, Scooby-Doo, all of them had a truth buried deep inside that was never meant for the child watching. It was meant for the adult that child would eventually become. On this channel, we find every single one. Here at Mysti Toons, this is what we do. We go behind the cartoon, behind the color, behind the music, into the real stories that were hidden inside shows you grew up watching. Every week, a new truth, a new theory, something that will make you see your childhood completely differently. And trust me, what is coming next on this channel is darker than anything we have covered so far. If this video changed how you see Courage the Cowardly Dog, subscribe to Mysti Toons right now, because next week, we are going somewhere even darker. A cartoon you watched every single day as a child, and the secret inside it will genuinely disturb you. Don't miss it. Now I want to hear from you. After everything in this video, what was the monster that scared you most as a child watching this show? Drop it in the comments below. And tell me, which cartoon should Mysti Toons expose next? I read every single comment. Courage's monsters were never real, but the fear he felt was more real than anything. And that is the darkest truth this show ever told us. Fear doesn't need a monster to be terrifying. Sometimes, the emptiness is enough. This is Mysti Toons, and the secrets have only just begun.